Something terrifying is happening to the human mind right now, and most people have no idea it's already affecting them. We are living through what researchers at MIT and Stanford are calling a post-truth cognitive collapse, and the data behind it should genuinely frighten you. Here's what is actually going on. In 2016, the Oxford Dictionary named post-truth its word of the year. At the time, most people thought it was a political buzzword that would fade away. 8 years later, the problem has not faded. It has metastasized into something far more dangerous than anyone predicted. A landmark study published in the journal Science in 2018 analyzed 126,000 stories spread on Twitter between 2006 and 2017. The finding was devastating. False news spread 6 times faster than true news. 6 times. And it reaches 1,500 people roughly 20 times more quickly. But here is the part that most people miss. The researchers found that humans, not bots, were primarily responsible for spreading misinformation. Our own brains are the vulnerability. Neuroscientists at University College London discovered something called the illusory truth effect, which shows that the more times your brain encounters a piece of information, regardless of whether it is true or false, the more likely you are to believe it. Repetition literally rewires your confidence in false claims. By 2023, researchers at Yale's Cognition and Development Lab found that people exposed to high volumes of social media content showed measurably reduced ability to distinguish between credible and non-credible sources. They called this epistemic fatigue. Your brain gets so overwhelmed processing information that it starts taking shortcuts, and those shortcuts favor whatever feels emotionally satisfying over whatever is actually true. The consequences of this are not just political. A 2022 study from Johns Hopkins found that medical misinformation contributed to approximately 800,000 deaths in the United States during the COVID-19 pandemic alone. People made life and death decisions based on information their brains had been tricked into accepting as real. The global economic cost of misinformation is estimated by the World Economic Forum at $78 billion per year, and that number is climbing. But the most unsettling part of all this is what happens to your long-term cognition. A 2024 paper from the University of Amsterdam found that chronic exposure to contradictory information actually shrinks the prefrontal cortex's capacity for critical reasoning over time. The part of your brain responsible for evaluating truth literally weakens from overuse and confusion. So what can you actually do about this? 3 things backed by evidence. First, practice what researchers call lateral reading. Before trusting a source, open multiple new tabs and search what other credible institutions say about that source. Fact-checkers use this technique and it takes under 60 seconds. Second, introduce a 24-hour delay before sharing emotionally charged content. Studies show that emotional arousal is the primary trigger for misinformation sharing, and a single day's pause dramatically reduces your likelihood of spreading false content. Third, deliberately seek out primary sources. If a headline cites a study, find the actual study. Most misinformation distorts real research rather than inventing it entirely. The war for what is real is happening inside your brain right now. And the first step to winning it is knowing that the battle exists.